am a computer-generated AI voice, and you're listening to Tech Radio.
Right now on Tech Radio, it's the Stripe Young Scientist and Technology Exhibition.
This is Tech Radio with Dusty Rhodes and Niall Kitson.
Every week online on your streaming platform of choice, this is Tech Radio. I'm Niall Kitson. You're listening to episode 1098, and I'm at the RDS for the Stripe Young Scientist and Technology Exhibition. This year, more than 550 projects will be present, along with 1,000 students between now, the 7th of January, until the 10th. Today, we're taking a look at some of the remarkable young people behind some equally remarkable projects. So let's go.
Hi, my name is Aminata, and I'm the team leader and app developer.
Hi, my name is Louise, and I'm the researcher of the group.
So tell us a little bit about the genesis of the project. Where did you get the idea for EcoSprout from?
Well, we got an idea because I have a grandmother in Saudi Arabia, and I've been watching the news and like all the droughts and the floods and everything. It made me worried for her, and I wanted to find a way to stop climate change. And that's how I thought of sustainability. So that's how we got to the app. And then we did a bit of research.
So tell us a little bit about the app itself. So what kind of problems were you looking at specifically? Was this about getting information out to people, or was it about constructing a solution?
So our app is targeting the global goal of the EU number 12. And it is basically addressing the global goal in multiple points by informing the consumers of what they're consuming, how sustainable they are, creating awareness for what kind of products they're buying, what they're supporting with their purchases. So our app just wants to give them an opportunity to make more thought about choices, like to consider their choices more and make better choices for themselves and the environment.
I'm looking at the project now. Did you achieve all your aims? Was there anything that surprised you in particular, or were you pretty happy with the job overall?
Well, I'm pretty happy with the app. One thing that surprised me was that because we scan barcodes and it gives us the information on the app. And I found it really surprising because I went to Aldi a few days ago and I was like, just for fun, let me just scan. And it worked, like it actually did it. I was so surprised. And then at lunch, I scanned a Coke bottle and it worked. I'm like, wow, my app actually works in real life. This is so shocking. Yeah, so that was something surprising.
We love talking about smart devices on the podcast, and here's one with particularly interesting applications, in particular helping people with underwater rescues. So I'm standing here with the team from St. Mary's Secondary School in Mallow in Cork. Ladies, if you just introduce yourselves.
Layla O'Connor, Darren Dempsey, Delilah Freya.
Layla, just first of all, tell us a little bit about the genesis for the project.
So we started working on the project in 2023 because we became aware that there was a lack of effective traditional water safety methods in place, and there was a lot of drownings happening in Cork that year. So it just became like a relevant problem for us that we wanted to do something about it that year.
It's really interesting that there was a particular local angle to picking this project. Did anyone have a particular interest in swimming or water sports before doing so?
Not necessarily. We all can swim, but we just knew we just thought that there's a lot of people who can't, and we heard of a 7-year-old girl who drowned, and we kind of took inspiration from that and wanted more people not to feel that scared in the water. So we just thought we'd come up with something to help people feel less scared.
So tell us a little bit about the headset itself. So from a distance, it basically looks like, a traditional set of goggles. Of course, there's a lot more going on there. So tell us what exactly the device does.
So there's a sensor that detects eye movement and blinking. So it can tell if you're blinking or not. And if you haven't blinked for a certain amount of time, there's a screen that will ask you if you're all okay and if you need to blink. And it'll ask you to press a button at the side of here. So if you press this button, it means you're safe and everything's okay. And if not, then a light will trigger and an inflation system will be activated.
Wow, so particularly useful, say, for people that are swimming in groups or something like that. So what kind of feedback have you had for the device so far?
Well, over the summer, we visited Juan Francisco Martinez in MTU. He works in the Nimbus Center and he helped us a lot with our project. developing it from previous prototypes we've had. He gave us a lot of advice, and most of our feedback was from him and from our teachers.
So I suppose as we're getting more used to augmented devices like this, do you think this is something we'll eventually see on the shelves, that this kind of device will just become something people buy as a matter of course before they go scuba diving, for example?
We really hope so. We've been here for 2 years, and every single year people are always saying, if it's on the shelves, we'll definitely buy it. We do think it's a really handy tool just to have, especially even for kids. The amount of drowning rates you see per year. So potentially and hopefully, yes, but we'll never know.
I'm here with the team now from St. Joseph's Secondary School in Rush in Dublin, and their particular setup is really interesting to me because it plays rubbish music right in front of it, and as something of an audiophile, that kind of caught my attention. So please introduce yourself and your project.
So my name is Robbie and my name is James.
And your project is Binbox. So tell us a little bit about it. I mean, it seems to blend a little bit of robotics, a little bit of, I don't know, maybe plunderphonics. So tell us a little bit about it.
So we have 3 robots, one called Binbox, one called Binbot Rover, and another one called Lupin. Binbox is when you put your rubbish into the bin, it detects it by the sensor and it starts playing music. And Binbot Rover is a bin that students have to catch to put their rubbish into. And Lupin is when you put your rubbish into the bin, it's like a slot machine. It goes down, and if you lose, you have to try again next time. But if you win, the motor in the robot will push out the sweets, then you can collect your prize.
Oh, okay, so there's a kind of a gamification element to getting people to behave themselves and looking after their rubbish. So how did you find people take to the idea?
We found that people take to the idea because we saw around at all the bins that most of the bins just had rubbish dumped all around them, even though the bins were only half full or whatever. So we decided to use psychological thinking to see if we could find a way to get more people to put their rubbish in the bin if they got a reward. And due to our tests, we learned that it was actually a lot better when they get a reward for putting rubbish in the bin. See, we did an experiment where we put the 3 bins. We put the bin box and the Lupin and the normal and just the regular bin.
No, fine, no.
Outside our deputy principal's office over 3 days, and then on the first day, when the bins hadn't really gotten much traction, the scores were pretty even. Each bin had gotten a decent amount of rubbish in it. On the second day, when the bins gained a lot more traction, the amount of rubbish put in the other 2 bins, not the regular bins, skyrocketed with over double the amount. On the third day, it was the same. So we learned from that they were a lot more popular than the normal bins because they give you rewards.
So a little bit of persuasion is just enough to get people to develop better habits.
Yep, basically.
Just before they get called up to the opening ceremony, I'm here with the team from Ennistimon Community School in Clare, who have been looking at algorithmic bias in AI image generation. So please introduce yourselves to the pod.
I'm Amy Fitzpatrick.
And I'm Aoife Considine.
So Amy, just to start with you, tell us a little bit about where the project came from, because when somebody says AI imagery, we're immediately thinking that something isn't trustworthy. So is that kind of where it came from?
It kind of did, yeah. AI is something that especially like young people are starting to use more and more every day. It's something that like people use as a search engine almost, and they rely on it. So we wanted to figure out if AI reflects gender stereotypes in society today and work out whether the information that we're being given is factually incorrect.
And when we talk about stereotypes, I mean, in previous years, it's always been about, the likes of Instagram and filters and that kind of thing. Is AI the next sort of level of that, in the sense that people don't really trust social media images anymore because they're so used to the tools, that AI is the next step here?
People don't really trust images that they see online anymore because they can't sometimes tell if they're real or AI generated. A lot of the images that we had got generated were they were very stereotyped. Like most people were wearing the same clothes from the same jobs, and like sports people were very similar, no matter the sport.
So tell us a little bit about your methodology here. How did you go about actually studying this phenomenon?
So we decided to ask AI to generate images using different prompts, and we went off different jobs in sports, such as like nurses, insurance brokers, or an athlete. And we basically researched our statistics on these jobs, figuring out the percentages of males and females. And then we compared these to the AI image results. And what we found was AI was biased. There was no matching in the IR statistics and the imagery. So we concluded that AI is biased from that.
So where do you think we go with from here? Is this a matter of young people will just have to learn to deal with AI the way they have learned with social media? Or are we going to need more specialized apps or specialized software to sort of identify when something has been generated using AI?
I think there's two ways. People will have to be like more kind of cynical of what they see online, not to fully 100% trust it. And then also there will have to be like software and stuff, like a kind of a mixture of both. Because like older people especially, they're a lot more trusting than we would be of AI generated imagery, because it doesn't occur to them that it could be like AI generated.
Now, we're all fans of fast fashion. Well, maybe the price point, if not the actual materials they're made from themselves. So I've found a project here coming out of Mill Street in Cork called Rethread. So first of all, introduce yourself to us and tell us a little bit more about it.
Hi everyone, I'm Farrancy Jenny and I'm from Mill Street Community School in Cork. So basically, I'm in 5th year and I'm kind of basically an inquisitive teenager. Was always like, why is this thing like that? Like, I definitely want to know the answer. I don't want an English answer, which is, it can be like this or like this. It is like this. Like, yeah, just give me the answer. Just do. So, yeah, I'm a fashion designer for 3 years now. And I was curious, okay, these things I use, where do they really come from? What do they come from? Do they have a great impact on us or the earth or whatever? Or is it just, a behind the scene, that's a secret in which everyone's just like, they don't have to know. It's just there. They don't have to know. Like, so far they get the fashion, they get the beautification. They don't have to know about this. They don't have to know it does that and stuff like that. But over time now, like research have happened. Most people from research and surveys, it's shown most people now know what is called fast fashion and the dirty secrets behind it, the dangers it has to the environment, to us as people, and generally to the earth and all its occupants. Basically, like it damages the plants, it damages we as people, it damages the environment, it damages even the air we breathe in, it damages basically everything in which is on earth. So I was like, okay, since what I'm doing damages the earth, how can I, like, there's definitely fashion years ago without damages and stuff like that. Even if it had damages, it was basically a 0.5 damage in 100%. It was something we could live on and still not even it's not going to cause a significant change over years. But even now, there's a great deal of significant, like the RLC, this is like this now because of it's because of a cotton farm from the center of Asia. The RLC is the fourth largest lake as of then, but now it's basically a desert. It's now smaller than this now. Yeah. It's way smaller than that now. And this was in 2020, just 6 years ago.
So in developing your app there, did you find, in particular, looking at awareness of things like vintage fashion, people using charity shops a lot more. Did you find that tied into a greater awareness of fast fashion?
Oh, I feel like now, especially Gen Zs, I would say, Gen Zs and the new generations, we're more of into thrift shop. But looking at it again, the way we're into thrift shop doesn't come from the fact that we are real fast fashion. Most teenagers and most people are into thrift shop because of it's unique. I'm not going to find what I'm wearing on somewhere else. That's the number one reason someone's going to give you. If why do you love a thrift shop? It's unique. I can count loads of my friends. I'm like, why do you go thrift? Because it's unique. I don't find what I get there on someone else. And I'm like, but do you know this? And they're like, I never knew that. most people go to thrift shop because it's like, oh, it's like unique and stuff like that. They don't really know it's a kind of way to control fast fashion. For now, I believe fast fashion can't. Like, you can just call it off. It's not possible. It's just a way to balance life and just, live with it without causing a high deal of damage. Everything has its pros and cons.
I'm talking now with Sarah Hurley and Miles Bueno from Coláiste Ciaráin in Limerick. Their project is Power Predict, which looks at something that we on the show have been talking about for quite a long time, and that's the relationship between energy infrastructure and, in our case, is data centres, but they've been looking at things at a much broader level. So tell us about Power Predict.
So Power Predict is an app that will predict power outages up to 10 days in advance. We started this app back in February 2025 after Storm Owen, which was our inspiration for the project. Storm Owen left hundreds and thousands of houses across the country without power for up to 2 weeks with little to no warning. And we wanted to make an app that could provide data to the users so they wouldn't be without warning before storms or power outages.
So Miles, 10 days sounds fairly ambitious. So how exactly does it work?
So we are using a service called Weather API, and they provide an incredible service. It's free for everybody. We have a sponsored subscription from them that lets us get this 10 days in advance. But they go up to 14, which is incredible. They have really, really accurate predictions, and they take forecast data from all over the world and they make it as accurate as possible. We've never had a single issue once with this. We have full confidence in their forecasts, and that's what we built our entire system off of, is the forecast they give, the data they give. We have full trust in their accuracy.
So where do you see this project going forward? Do you think this is the sort of thing people will just download and have on their, smartphones just as a matter of course, particularly when a big storm is announced?
So we see it being something for obviously the general public if they're interested in downloading, but we also see it going further to energy providers who might want to give more details when it comes to when there's going to be power outages, because they're the ones providing said power outages. Providing the energy for him. Yeah. Anyways, then we also see it being a company thing. If companies like to know, obviously, when to turn on their generators, when to put, like for retail or for groceries, when to put those in fridges, when not to. We also would look into futuring it with other companies who'd like to be involved in it.
One of the great things about the Young Scientists and Technology exhibition is that I get to learn about things about which I know absolutely nothing whatsoever. And, livestock happens to be one of them. So I'm here at a project called Gatekeeper from the lads at Coláiste Mullingar in County Westmeath. First of all, introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name's Connor.
And I'm Sam O'Farrell from Delvin.
And I have to say, you've got some fantastic merch, which always sells a stand, I have to say, when I go by. So tell us a little bit about Gatekeeper. And, the spelling is important, G-A-I-T, Keeper.
Yeah, so I suppose Gatekeeper is a low-cost automated lameness detection system. So when we talk about lameness, I suppose they're talking about when the cow is walking abnormally or not in a normal way, and she's usually in pain. Basically our project is designed to be low cost and low maintenance for the farmer, because this is what the farmer is after in lameness detection. I suppose our project came about because I come from a dairy farm myself, and I see firsthand, dairy cows that have lameness and that are limping. And I know from my own experience that the systems that are out there at the minute to detect lameness, they're unfortunately too expensive, like the likes of Cattle Eye, which we research. They're unfortunately too expensive for farmers with bigger herds. So in my farm, for example, we only do it with our eye. So there's the risk of human error, and we might not see it in time, which could make the lameness develop more, which will increase your vet's fees, and it will also lower the milk production. We've done our own personal research, and we actually compared two cows and their milk production. They calved at the same time, two Holstein Friesians, and the difference in milk was almost a 70% decrease in the cow that was lame. So we can see that this has a significant effect on the farmer and the milk that he's supplying.
So tell me a little bit more about how the system works.
So our system is based on what's called a Raspberry Pi board. It's essentially a microcomputer, and that's our brain of the project. Everything goes through that board of the Raspberry Pi. So the IR sensor that we're using to detect the cow moving through the parlour is broken, and this is essentially like a light tripwire. So when the light is broken, the system kicks in and it says, right, there's a cow walking through the parlour here now, we better kick into action. And so that tells the Raspberry Pi to turn on our little webcam that we have set up. And that takes a 30-second video of the cow walking through the parlour. And as this is being recorded, it's getting live analysed by models that we've trained onto our computer so that it knows whether a cow is lame or not. And it makes a prediction and it can tell the farmer when the cow is lame or not. The system has been trained on previous videos of cows walking and a scale of lameness. So it knows from predetermined knowledge that we've given it how a lameness looks and how it can see lameness itself. And so it uses that to live analyse the video footage and say whether the cow is lame or not in real time, saving the farmer immense amounts of time and efficiency on the farm at a low cost that any farmer can understand. Because what we strive to do with our project was deliver a product that was cheap and easy to use for the farmer, because the farmer doesn't want anything too overly complex for the farm. He wants simple systems that he himself can understand. So we use our system and it's extremely simple. It saves all of the collected data, whether the cow is lame or not, into a simple app that the farmer can just use on his phone. No big computer systems or screens. It's all saved onto the phone. And so the farmer can open his phone and see, right, cow number 37 is lame, because it gives all different data from each cow. Each cow is recorded separately. So no matter how big the herd is, the farmer can go onto his phone and say, cow number 543 is grand. It's not lame at all. So it's a very simple system and it gives the farmer a lot of statistical data and knowledge that he wouldn't get with just looking at the cows.
We also have QR codes included in the system where these are put into the cow's ear. And this is how we can identify each cow individually and how the data from that cow can be saved underneath that cow in the app. And we also, in the app, we have the whole herd overview as well as each cow individually.
Of course, in the past, we've talked about the role of drones in incident management, and there's a project here from St. Joseph's Secondary School in Rush called Sawwall. I think I pronounced that correctly. So tell us a little bit more about what you're working on and, of course, who you are.
Hi, I'm Louis Monks. I'm a transition year student in St. Joseph's Secondary School in Rush, and my project Sawwall is using autonomous UAVs to respond to emergency incidents to help increase the situational awareness for first responders. So the general idea is that the HSC maintain the out-of-hospital cardiac arrest register, which has a statistic which is the call to response interval. This interval is the interval of time between a call being put to emergency services and them responding. But what this doesn't account for is the response to physical intervention interval, which is the amount of time it takes after an ambulance or a fire brigade arrives on scene for them to physically intervene with a patient and provide medical care. So Sawwall aims to reduce this interval in mountainous and rural environments by sending a UAV out before the ambulance or fire brigade arrive, so that they don't have to take that 5 or 10 minutes when they arrive on scene to assess, especially in mountainous areas, a certain access paths to a patient to ensure the safety of the ambulance and themselves. All they have to do is they arrive and the UAV has already responded. It would have a live camera feed that could then in the future maybe use an autonomous system, but it would be more likely that it would provide a live feed to a dispatch center. They could then do that risk assessment, and then the ambulance or fire brigade would arrive on scene and could almost immediately physically intervene, reducing the time lost on risk assessments and other protocol that they have to follow. This would then allow the patient to receive care quicker and hopefully save lives.
So this basically puts the drone in sort of a scout function as opposed to an incident management one, which is kind of what we would expect at the moment when the command truck shows up and then starts using drones. So that's what we're looking at.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it definitely could be repurposed into that kind of incident management role, especially in marine environments where there is already an aerial aspect fulfilled by the Coast Guard helicopters. Sawwall does not aim to replace that because there is a role for physical intervention in these scenarios, but Sawwall would provide a more rapid response because it takes we live in North County Dublin in Rush on the coast, and it could take 10 or 15 minutes for a Coast Guard helicopter to launch from Dublin Airport and get up to us. So Solval units would be placed, every 5, 10, 15 kilometers along the coast, and it would allow them to respond it would allow them to respond faster than the helicopter. And then if physical intervention was needed, the helicopter could then take the primary role, allowing Solval to then fulfill that incident management role of providing that kind of backup to that main overwatch role by the Coast Guard helicopter.
So I think we're all on a quest to understand the adolescent mind. And I found a team from St. Columba's College in Donegal who have kind of been doing that. So first of all, introduce yourselves to us and explain exactly what your project is about.
I'm Emer, and we're doing a project on how Snapchat impacts teens dating.
So, and your teammate there, Orla. So tell me a little bit more about dating habits in the age of Snapchat.
Well, it's kind of typical teenage drama, but we did a lot of research into it. Nearly 24% of teenagers dated somebody that they've met online. So it's definitely a big influence. And Snapchat kind of has a lot of features that promote certain activities, like Snap Maps promotes, checking where a partner is or someone you're talking to, where they are. So there's a lot of factors that influence, teen dating online. It's a big deal for us.
That's really interesting that, younger people just seem to be much more comfortable with meeting people in real life, but meeting them, from the perspective of meeting them virtually first. Do you find that that's a big trend?
Yeah, it's definitely popular to meet people online first before meeting them in person. Even not in our study, we find that with our friends just in person, we realise they do.
So was there anything particularly surprising about your results that made you sort of pause and think, well, maybe people are doing things that mightn't be the smartest or most healthiest to do?
There was definitely one of the things we did in analysing our results was drawing the differences between the genders. And from there, you can see a big gap. I'm trying to pick out some things here. Oh yeah, checking online activity status and using Snap Maps is definitely something that a lot of young people do. It's up in the near 70s. It's a big thing. And something that was really surprising to us that we wouldn't have expected was a lot of teenagers started using Snapchat from ages 12 to 13. And even below that, there was a lot of under 10-year-olds who had Snapchat, who had a phone. That was a big shock for us, I would say.
Wow, a pretty scary finding in and of itself. And lastly, I suppose the likes of Snapchat are they're famous for using filters now. So do you think people are being quite disappointed when they meet somebody in real life that they've met online before?
If anything, it kind of promotes this whole idea of Snapchat features promoting a poor mental health for teenagers, because it kind of sets unrealistic expectations and you're not actually seeing somebody how they truly are. It could be somebody sitting at whatever time on a Friday night and they look a state, but filters kind of make people look the best way that they can be, no matter the situation. I just think it promotes poor body image and mental health for teens.
So my last person of today is Juliet Jason from Mercy College in Roscommon, who has been looking at the gut microbiome. Now, Juliet, tell us a little bit about what the gut microbiome actually is.
So the gut microbiome is an ecosystem of trillions of microorganisms found in your gut. So this gut microbiome helps with digestion, support immune system, and even protect against harmful germs. So my project aims to investigate how zero sugar drinks impact the growth of Lactobacillus rhamnosus compared to sugary drinks and water. And I want to raise awareness about their potential long-term effects on gut health. And I've also recently seen an increase in teenagers drinking zero sugar drinks. So there's studies on zero sugar drinks on clinical studies, but there's not a lot on adolescents.
So I wanted to investigate how it directly affects adolescents. So what I did, I approached a mixed method approach where I used laboratory experiments with a student survey to investigate the effects of sugary drinks on sugary drinks, zero sugar drinks, and water on lactobacillus rhamnosus growth. So what I came as a conclusion was that the sugary drinks increased the growth of lactobacillus rhamnosus, which is a beneficial gut bacteria in your gut. And the zero sugar drinks actually reduced the growth. So it indicates that we need more research on it. What my project is, it was an in vitro project, so there's still more research needed, but it raises awareness and on the effects of zero sugar drinks and what it could be possibly doing to your health.
So there's actually an argument for drinking full fat, full sugar Coke out there.
Yes, indeed.
This is Tech Radio with Dusty Rhodes and Niall Kitson.
And that was a whistle-stop tour of the Stripe Young Scientist and Technology exhibition. And if you want to see for yourself what's going on, the event is open to the public until Saturday, the 10th of January. From myself, Niall Kitson, have a better one, and we'll talk to you next week.
Remember, you can get the latest Irish tech news with hourly updates, daily newsletters, and more at our website, techcentral.ie. Share the knowledge and invite a friend to listen. Search Apple, Spotify, or YouTube for Tech Radio Ireland, or listen with RTE Radio 1 Extra. Tech Radio is produced by dustpod.io for techcentral.ie. From me, Artemis, live long and prosper.